All right. Herb Talk number 10 today. Herb Talk number 10. It's going to be a good one, y'all. This is our transition one. Mm. Herb Talk number 10. We are talking the formula transition from Parasite Cleanse into Autoimmune Series, which is a 39 week series, 9-month series. It's going to be pretty awesome, pretty exciting. We allow every input. Sweet, I love that. Awesome. Um, New school features going on here, guys. I'm looking at. It's pretty cool. Um, so exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. We will jump into it here in a second. First of all, if you don't know, my name's Matt Pollard. This is Herb Talk. This is our 10th Herb Talk. It feels like we've been doing this forever, but if you've missed the rest of the Herb Talks, go to the school account. You'll see the link right in the I'll put it in the comment section as well, but you'll see it in the description of this video. It's the first link right there. Go to that account, you'll be able to get access to my book and so much more, courses, all sorts of stuff in there for you. I'm putting more and more courses together as we speak. So every single day, I'm doing more and more for all of that. It's getting pretty awesome and exciting in there. So join the community, get in there, talk about all of your issues. It's a place where you can come and speak on any of your health issues that you might be having. So it just helps everybody together kind of know. Um, some people got more information than others, and some people have different information than others on different subjects. So it's um, a lot of knowledge out there that people have and that we can gain and glean from. So get in there, comment, um, anything that might be going on with you or things you've done in the past that have helped you tremendously. Those are all things that we want to be shared on the platform. Today we will be doing the parasite cleanse, whatchamacallit. That's why I got my phone out. Parasite cleanse raffle or giveaway. So I got to add people as they start coming in. So yeah, we'll be giving away the parasite cleanse that I've been talking about this whole time. The one that I put together, strategized for. Um, there's more that I could do to this formula, and we can go over a little bit of that, but I kept it simple. I like simple. When things are simple, they tend to work better, more efficiently. Um, Getting super complicated with herbal formulas and things that you can do that, but it gets difficult for it to work for multiple people rather than, just being specified for one person. If it's complex, it's better to be specified for one person. Um, but there are things that you can do that are pretty complex with herbal formulas. I had one formula that had 21 ingredients in it, called the brain formula, phenomenal formula. And but it's really complex, and it works with chemistry of everybody's body rather than specified diseases, right? So, but when you're talking about specificity, usually it's more complex. When you're talking about something that will work well for everybody in general, you're looking at a more simple formula when you're talking herbs. So I kept this one simple, 4 ingredients. Um, the amount of each herb that we've gone over in each capsule. So I did the math last night. I made like 300 capsules last night. So one of you will get a third of that. Uh, and I left it inside, so I can't go get it, but I would show you it. Um, but Wormwood, 133 milligrams per capsule. Black walnut, 117 milligrams per capsule. And clove, 83 milligrams per capsule. And MSM, 150 milligrams. Now, your first week of this, and I'll have all this written out when you get when you win it, right? So the first week of this, you will uh, take one in the morning, one at night, right? So throughout the day, you'll get 266 milligrams of wormwood, right? Um, and basically double because you're taking two, right, through that process. The second week, you'll take two in the morning, two at night. So you'll be getting 266 milligrams of wormwood in the morning, 266 milligrams of wormwood at night. I think it's better to split it up this way um, rather than taking a full 500 milligrams of wormwood or something like that. Um, that way it's constantly trickling into the system rather than just one full crazy blast and then you miss something, right? So, so having it, in the morning and then and at night allows for, that constant therapeutic effect, consistent. Um, so then you take a week off, and then we just started back up. What, Wednesday? Yeah, today's Saturday. Yeah, yeah, we just started back up Wednesday, so we went our week without taking it. We just started back up Wednesday on our parasite cleanse. I'm feeling so much better already. My energy levels, that even the first week, about the fourth day of taking this stuff, my energy levels shot through the roof already. So, which is really awesome. So I expect you'll notice a difference if you're um, in tune with that kind of stuff. But um, so, and then you'll be getting what 300, so 600 milligrams of MSM, right? So, but you'll take that week off and then you'll do two in the morning, two at night for 2 weeks, right? And it should come out to really close to 100 capsules total. And so that you'll take throughout this. And 100 capsules is 40 grams of this formula. So over a 5-week period, you'll take 40 grams of of these herbs, right? So that's pretty significant. Um, but yeah, it's pretty effective so far for us. I think everybody's even if the kids aren't feeling it, I'm noticing it in them for sure. So it's pretty sweet, and we're taking it consistently. So the key here is consistency, right? If you don't have consistency, or if you're not consistent with taking your stuff, then it's not going to work, right? So you have to take it for it to work. Um, that's a kind of a motto within the health and herbalism field. If you don't take it, it won't work, right? So if you don't do it, it won't work. If you don't work out, you're not going to gain muscle. If if you don't do something, it's not going to work. Um, Plain and simple. So it is important to be consistent. However that looks to you, um, however that looks to you, it is important to make sure you're getting this stuff in your body when you can, as often as you can, um, and consistently, right? If you take a couple of days off, normally, unless it's the parasite cleanse, if you take a couple of days off during something when you're not supposed to, it's not going to work, right? You have to build that back up in your system. Um, these things take time to assimilate and to work and to change. your body. They activate natural healing processes. They do work with the chemistry of your body instantly, but there's some processes that take time, right? Um, so you have to allow that time. Um, and it takes time to regenerate new cells. It takes time to reinvigorate different chemical processes, different enzyme processes, all those things, right? So it takes time to get your nervous system trained and back on track. So just like it takes time to learn how to ride a bike and develop that muscle memory, it takes time to develop nervous system memory as well. Those are all similar things, right? So it takes time. So allow that time. So we can jump right in here. I did do a post just a minute ago with with a picture that kind of has it's a pretty cool little pic. It shows, and I'm trying to get out of the live and go to the post, but oh, here we go. I've got it. I've got it. But it shows the histamine response to parasites and what parasites do and kind of the immune system response, a important immune system response to parasites, right? This is important to know because it translates directly into what we're about to get into, which is the autoimmune disease series. So histamine is a hormone protein that reacts. Basically, it is a signal that signals the immune system, signals your genetics, it signals um, everything, basically um, to go on high alert, right? It stimulates everything pretty radically, right, in the body, which is why, antihistamine is used for anti-allergy situations, right? Because the histamine is what signals everything to go crazy. So if you reduce that histamine, your body doesn't react, right? So that's why people take, different steroidal compounds and stuff like that to reduce those um, histamine reactions. So and there's other processes that are involved in that too. But this picture is pretty cool. It kind of gives you an idea of a little bit of what we're going to go over today. Um, there's some there's some words in here. There's some things in here that as we go through this series, you will learn more and more about. And like mast cells and what those are. Basophils, I think we get a little bit into that. Um, But mast cells are pretty critical to autoimmune disease and being able to control those, right? So they release a lot of histamine and they get into a recycling stage in autoimmune disease, which really can uh, can throw your whole system haywire. So parasites can trigger histamine tolerance or intolerance and mast cell activation because the human immune system uses histamine as a primary weapon against parasites, right? So it is a natural response to parasites. This is why I have come to the conclusion that parasites are one of the major triggers for autoimmune disease. Um, and I haven't just come to that conclusion. There are other people that have come to that conclusion as well. There's been studies on it, especially with thyroid issues. So, and we'll get to that. So, when parasites persist repeatedly, um, they stimulate the immune system, right? So the defense pathway becomes overactive and dysregulated. And um, and histamine is released primarily from mast cells and basophil immune cells, right? So the purpose during parasite infection is to increase the blood flow to the area or the infected tissue, right? Recruit immune cells, increase mucus production, stimulate intestinal contractions, and to expel parasites. So it has its purpose, it's important, but unregulated histamine can be really bad. And we've all seen what that looks like. I got to see what that looks like with poison ivy. Super fun, right? So, and that's a part of the adaptive immune system, but we'll get to that actually on um, our first series in the autoimmune disease. So next week. So these reactions are mediated through histamine receptors such as histamine H1 receptor and H2 receptor. So when parasites invade the body intentionally, the body intentionally raises histamine levels, right? So many parasites physically interact with the gut lining as well, which, as we know, gut damage is extremely, um, it, it's really bad, right? It's basically it can be it's one of the major contributing factors to all disease, right? So if your gut's right, usually you don't have any other issues, right? It's extremely important. That's what I was going to say. Um, but their presence stimulates mast cell degranulation, releasing histamine, tryptase, leukotrienes, and prostaglandins. These are all things that the immune system uses um, to fight different pathogens and such, right? But when all those things are released, it can trigger an immune response that is overreactive, especially if you're already genetically predisposed to that. Um, this immune reaction helps expel parasites from the intestine, but it also floods the system with histamine, right? Parasites strongly stimulate immunoglobulin E, so IgE. IgE binds to mast cells and makes them extremely reactive. So once again, this is a recycling issue, right? So when you get mast cell degranulation and parasitic IgE stimulation, you have a recycling effect of releasing histamine into the system, signaling the immune system and increasing more inflammation. So it becomes so IgE becomes or makes mast cells really reactive, right? When IgE coats the mast cells, we encounter parasite proteins. The mast cells degranulate, histamine is released, and inflammation increases. The problem is that once IgE levels are elevated, mast cells may react to other triggers, such as food, environmental allergens, temperature changes, stress. The temperature changes one is crazy, right? This happened with Jennifer, where she's now allergic to the cold. Happened within the last 3 years. Weirdest thing I've ever freaking seen. Never knew that this existed, but it can happen. It can lead to mast cell activation syndrome, which is a part of the autoimmune response, right? And so I'm trying to work with her to help reduce that and get a better histamine or tolerance basically, because it's crazy that you can be allergic to cold. I mean, I don't like the cold, right? But it doesn't cause me an allergy on my skin like poison ivy, or rash or whatnot. It's crazy. So parasites frequently they injure the intestinal tract, right? The intestinal lining, the mucosal lining, they injure that lining, they injure the cells often. Um, this increases intestinal permeability, and activates zonulin, which it regulates tight junctions, so the junctions of the cells, um, and this allows food proteins to enter the bloodstream, which makes a lot of people have gut problems before they have an allergy to a food, right? So most people are born with gut problems. So it's an issue, yeah, especially if they're bottle fed right out the womb. It's difficult because you're not getting what you need to have a proper gut. And so these food allergies can develop super early on, but increased immune reactions to foods, and then greater mast cell activation in the gut. So this is one of the reasons why people with parasites often develop food-triggered histamine reactions. That's what I was just talking about. So histamine must be broken down by enzymes. So this is key, okay? Now, normally we will talk about this in the autoimmune series, but there is a gene, I believe it's called ACER01 or something like that. Um, and when it's down regulated in somebody, for whatever reason, if they, haven't been eating healthy or whatnot for however long, or have toxic exposure or something like that, and this gene is downregulated, and they will not produce the right enzymes to break down histamine in foods and um, in other uh, things that enter their body, right? So diamine oxidase, DAO, is mostly in the gut, but it helps to break down histamine from foods. Histamine N methyltransferase is mostly inside the cells, but it helps to break histamine down. If you are not producing these at the rate that you need to, you will have more reactive and less tolerance to histamine. So much greater, um, you have a much greater, uh, gosh dang, I can't use my words today. Is this every time we do this? I can't use my words. Um, there's a lot of words out there to use. So it's not my fault. Somebody made up a bunch of words. Uh, but you have a much greater, God, dang, you have a much greater chance. God, easiest word ever. You have a much greater chance of developing an autoimmune issue, right? So you I got all off because I couldn't remember that stupid word. Um, but so parasites can reduce DAO activity, right, by damaging the intestinal cells, um, causing inflammation that suppresses the enzyme production. And so through that, your body can respond as well to not producing enough histamine tolerance, right? So you'll produce histamine intolerant symptoms, and through that it can trigger your autoimmune disease, right? Now, for a long time, and I think I touched on this, but back in the 1800s, we used to have every doctor, and even the 1900s, and well into the 1900s, every doctor had parasite cleanse regimens, right? It was one of the first things that doctors would recommend because it worked, right? Parasites were a pretty big deal back then. In the 1920s, um, we started seeing a reduction in parasites because we learned more about cleanliness, washing of hands, washing your bodies, stuff like that. So you weren't exposed to so many things. Um, at that point, you have this huge transition from the 1920s to, probably 1980s. Um, that 50, 60-year period of time, you have this transition of farmers to consumers, right? So people are in around a lot less dung, basically, where parasites like to hang out. But also you just have cleanliness. Now then we started transitioning into sanitization. Sanitization is bad, right? In a lot of circumstances. There are circumstances where sanitization is needed and important, but the means by which sanitization is achieved should probably be changed, um, because then the chemical residues is far worse, right? But so through that kind of transition, parasites became not null and void, but obviously when you're outside of the environment that parasites normally like to live in, you're not, around it as often, and you're washing your hands before you touch your mouth or your food or whatnot, after you've touched something that might, contract something. That simple practice reduced parasites a lot. Um, and doctors will say it's because of their medical practices and stuff, but it doesn't coincide with doctors um, doing anything, honestly. But they'll say it's because of modern medicine, not old medicine. And so, but it honestly doesn't coincide with their numbers on anything. It coincides with basically taking baths and washing your hands. Um, So and which was a big practice in Jewish culture thousands of years ago, right? So, and they knew about these things because God told them. And so, but yeah, so nowadays though, we have other issues, right? We have pets that are in the house. We have horrible, horrible food habits that are full of parasites. We have horrible toxicity habits. And so those things will also contribute and trigger, but I believe parasites are on the rise today because of sanitization and not cleanliness, right? Um, because our food is left to be, manipulated and be stored for long periods of time where parasites can thrive. Just different situations don't that breed parasites, but also toxicity for us. It's we basically from about the 80s until now we've transitioned into this, well, where we're at right now with completely toxic lives and um, animals in the home sleeping in the bed with us, especially cats. Cats, my goodness, cats are horrible. Um, we have a cat, but it's an outside cat. But yeah, it's these things can um, can contribute a lot of factors that will allow you to contract parasites. There's a lot of different angles there that where you could contract them. So I believe our lifestyles now are have greatly changed. Um, we don't do the things that we need to do. We're not in the right environments anymore for parasites to not thrive. So we have to do something different. We can do something different. There's a lot of things you can do. And I love when people say, well, everything causes cancer nowadays, so why even worry about it? Well, yes, everything does cause cancer nowadays. So stop doing those things, you know? Um, so anyways, I'll get off of my rant here, and we'll get back to the subject at hand. But another issue that happens, and this goes along with killing off parasites, and we talked a little bit about this as well, is when parasites die, they release proteins and toxins and antigens, right? Um, these can trigger immune reactions similar to Jerisch-Hexheimer reaction, temporarily increasing histamine and inflammatory symptoms. So parasite die-off, even you have to be careful with. That's why we do the parasite cleanse in the way that we do, right? Gentle, loving them out of our body rather than just kill them all. Yes, that's what we would like, but we'll do it gently. When parasites drive histamine release, symptoms often resemble allergic. disease, right? So you have to be careful. In a lot of people, you know, you have skin itching, hives, sinus congestion, right? Digestive pain, anxiety or insomnia, flushing of headaches, right? So those sort of things. So one of the things I've noticed with the parasite cleanse is a little bit of congestion. Now, it does line up with pollen season, right? But I'm not sure which one it is. And so um, it's interesting that, you know, these sort of allergic reactions that you might think is one thing could be, you know, getting rid of parasites could be a response to getting rid of parasites. So that's pretty interesting. Um, but the underlying trigger, you know, of this may be immune activation from parasites rather than classic allergies, right? So you could have an allergy that you think that you've had for years, right? I think I read somebody's comment on one of my videos. They said they had a parasite for 17 years. And now whether that was the same parasite that lived 17 years, I don't know, but I don't think, but um, you know, that parasite was breeding in their body for 17 years and they finally were able to expel it and using natural means. And they thought they were just basically chronically sick their whole life, or at least for that 17 years, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. Pretty wild. Antibiotics won't do anything to them either. And so, but that's like, you know, that's the go-to for doctors is antibiotic. I would just throw an antibiotic at it. Hopefully it works. Well, for parasites, it doesn't do anything. So, um, so parasites can simultaneously disrupt gut barrier function, increase histamine and mast cell activation, right, and stimulate immune responses through HLA, DR3, and HLA, DR4. This combination can increase risk of Hashimoto's thyroiditis, even Graves, in genetically susceptible people, right? So when you're messing around with those immune responses and those genetics, signaling them, um, you can cause an automatic immune response that becomes overreactive, right? And in the case of Graves' disease, your immune system actually hijacks your thyroid. It skips your pituitary gland and your hypothalamus. It skips that whole thing and goes straight to your thyroid and says, "Hey, produce more," right? Hashimoto's is a little bit different. It's underactive. So we'll get into all that in our autoimmune series. But I think, Lane, you're the only one on here today. We
Excuse me.
yay. I got you in here for the raffle. Um, we've got 6 people in the raffle, but you have the most entries, obviously. You have 5 whole entries. So,
I'm really good at
yeah.
not winning.
Well, you got a pretty good chance today. So, I think my parents who won last time, they have 4 entries, and there's a few people that have 1 entry. So, I'll tell you what though, if my dad wins this time, I'm gonna do it again. I should just take him out. He won last time. He didn't get to win again. Um, so we can go ahead and do our raffle. I have bottles on the way. They should be here tomorrow. And so whoever wins, I will be able to bottle it up and send it out tomorrow or Monday. So, or Jennifer can come drop it off if you're local.
Well, I told Jennifer I wanted to come see the farm, so
Yeah, yeah.
that will be my reason.
It's a mess right now, but it's kind of a construction zone, right? So,
I'll wear shoes.
yeah, shoes that don't allow nails to go through them. Jennifer knows. Just be smart about where you step. She just like opened the door and jumped out and jumped right on a piece of wood that had nails sticking up. I'm like, oh my goodness. She didn't look anywhere where she was, because like right outside my office is where we have all the wood. We took down that house and we have it stored right here, and I'm building this office out, and I'm building a roof over the camper and everything. Like I've got a 40 foot span of trusses up there that I'm building, and which I gotta do. I gotta finish, but yeah, so we have so much going on just right out here, and she stepped out the door right here and right into the wood. Did not looking or nothing. So, but let's go ahead and do the raffle. Got all our entries. I'm gonna hit the button. Start raffle. There it goes. There it goes. Who's it gonna stop on?
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that cool? It's got all the names in there. Wait, I don't have to. Oh, I do have to. I have to hit the button. All right, did I do it? I hit it. Oh, there it is. It's running. Lane! Lane! You're the winner.
Me?
Yeah, look at that.
I'm good at winning today.
Showing up works. Finish. It is finished. Yep. List of winners right there, number one.
Nice. I'll be having a make a day.
Yep. Now you can use that Nelly song as your theme song all day. I am number one.
Question, okay, your autoimmune series.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the date that you're starting that? So if I share it, folks will know.
Next week.
Next week, next Saturday.
Next Saturday we start. It'll be 39 weeks. I am I have a so I put together a lot on it. So I put so much together on it that I'm going to be doing it every week for Herb Talk, but I have more in-depth and worksheets that can be worked out and worked on for people who want to learn even more. Um, and it's not necessarily even more, it's just, they'll get to interpret and do more of the thinking and stuff like that on their own for it. So it won't just be listening to me talk about it. I'm putting that together in a course on here. Sorry, I got some extra capsules laying around. Um, so, if they're the type of person that wants to learn more so that they can like teach others or whatnot, or just have it for their own knowledge, their own base is pretty cool. But so here's the cool part though. So basically this whole I built this whole course, and then I built the app based off of the course. So that the app is basically this whole course put into action, right? So that's why I'm going to encourage people to get on the app. Even if I don't have it in the store yet, they can just get the web-based version of it. I'm
What's the
trying
name of that app?
Autoimmune Ally. I can I'll be putting it together on and I'll be putting it on school here soon. So I've got a few things to tweak on it. I've been letting Leah use it and see how it works and stuff. She's able to use it pretty easily, so I know that other people can use it. Um, so, because if a kid can use it, anybody should be able to use it for the most part. Um, but so I've been testing it out a little bit, letting a few people look at it and everything, and um, I've changed a couple of things on it, and I'm getting a little bit more done on it. So